All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Geek Culture Congress. I'm your host today, Louis Speedy Jr. Gonzalez, and I apologize for all the mess that you see right there on our video. But we are talking via Skype with a gentleman who has a great passion for card and board games. His name is Dave Killingsworth, which is such a great last name for what you work on.
Thanks.
It's like it couldn't have been planned any better, right?
Exactly.
The last name just markets itself. But he is the owner of SolarFlare Games, which is I think you're based out of Texas, right?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
near Dallas.
Right, cool. I've been there. I've been there. Really nice place. Um, and you work on you pick up card games. Usually one player versus one player, right? Or sometimes you have multiple
We,
games.
we we've done this is our 10th game in 5.5 years that we've made and published. So we've done usually we're focused on very family friendly games, or something that should be not the heavy hardcore. I want to play Twilight Imperium gamer, but
Yeah.
more along the
No,
lines of,
no
hey,
magic.
yeah,
You know,
let's get
no.
our family together and play some games, kind of thing.
Right.
So
I
like
like
our
that. I like that a lot. I
yeah.
like that approach that you have to the to what you work on. Especially I of course the first game that I've played of yours is the Robotech one, which is why we're here today. And
Okay.
I just it was just a simple. I was like, man, there's so much bad luck with Robotech stuff, without getting into any of the depressing things that has happened. But when I opened the box and I played it for the first time, I was like, and I talked my son into playing with me. He's 18 and
hmm
probably saw Robotech when he was like very young. That I forced him to watch it. Um, yeah, well, by the time we were done, we were like, man, you know what? That was actually fun. you know. And
Yeah.
so tell me your approach to when you are thinking up of a new game, a new concept, new card game concept that you want to pull to market.
So I get a lot of game designers out there tell me that I do it backwards. I tend to play a lot of games. I play games every week,
Right.
and I'll find a mechanic that I kind of enjoy, or a part of a mechanic, because a lot of games you'll play, you're like, man, I like 80% of that game and I hate 20% of the game, and part of it's about finding things that I enjoy. So if I say, hey, how can I put these pieces together,
Right.
in a way that a group of people could play in an hour or less, most of the time, is how we approach it.
Right.
But or I'll have this really cool idea about a concept and a theme, and then it's like, okay, let's see, I take the theme and let's go work backwards.
Right.
Robotech was kind of a hybrid of the two things. We were sitting around, and I had just finished Nightmare Forest Alien Invasion,
Mm-hmm.
and I had some extra cards left over in the print run, so I decided to create a little mini game and kind of created this mechanic that you see in Force of Arms and Crisis Point,
Right.
in Utter Tear. It's called Nightmare Forest Utter Tear. It's about two aliens trying to capture the most cows. It's a silly little game. It's got some memory to it,
It's something
but
for
it's
fun, like with the family game.
yeah, and so we took that mechanic, and then we kind of fiddled around with it. We're like, this could really lend itself to a really cool space-based game. And then we went, and one of the guys at my job had found some old packs of Robotech trading cards,
Oh
and I
wow.
went, oh my God, that would be so cool, because there's no way you could ever talk to like Star Trek or Star Wars when you're a little tiny company, and
Right.
so. But Robotech, in any way, Robotech was the thing that as a teenager, that's how I discovered anime, and I love it, love it, love it, love it. So I was like, I'll send them a message and say, hey, I make games, can I use your IP? And I was shocked the next day when Harmony Gold called me, and I was like,
Wow.
wow, okay. And Force of Arms was born, and the thing that took the longest amount of time was taking all the classic bits of mecha and scenes from the show and making sure
I want
we
to actually
re we
show.
re we redrew, so we could redraw everything. We redid every piece of art in a modern style, that um, a modern style that served how people people want to see. You watch the TV show now, and you're like, whoa, that's kind of old, but damn, it's still good. And we wanted to take
Yeah. Yeah.
the modern ability of artists today digitally, and we just kind of extrapolated it out. We wanted it to. It was one of those things where it was really lucky. We built the engine to fit the IP instead of slapping an IP on an engine you already had built.
Right.
You know, the utter tear part was under there, but
Mhm.
we took it and said, how do we make it fit these
Robotech,
big
right?
space Robotech space battles? And that's
Exactly.
what we did.
Okay. I have my copy of the first game, which is actually available right now. I'm showing everybody right now on the screen, which is Robotech Force of Arms. This is my copy that I bought very lovingly. And before we talk about what we're really here to talk about, which is the second part of this saga of you making these games, right? Because it's
Hmm.
like another saga.
Yes.
Yeah, but your own saga, because of course, any fan knows that's followed Robotech. There are three different wars. There's of course the first one, which is based on the Macross SDF one, the one that pretty much a lot of people know with the F-14s that transform into mecha, and a lot of people love them with Rick and Lisa and Chiron, and also there's the second part, which is what you have your pre-sale going on for, which is based on the Southern Cross, uh, which was another Japanese cartoon that they included in the story, to have enough episodes, right? So they that show is always like the redheaded stepchild of the Robotech saga, for some weird reason. I haven't figured out why, because I enjoy it. I actually probably the first time I actually watched Robotech was the Southern Cross part. And
It lives or dies with fans based on whether they like Dana or not.
yeah, yeah, that's true.
That's what I found. If
Yeah.
Dana irritates you, you don't like it. If you love Dana and hey, I just charge him with tanks. It works every time.
Yeah,
If you like that part of her,
yeah,
it works for you. So it always seems everybody likes New Gen and everybody likes Macross, but it's that middle one
right,
that's one way or the other.
yeah.
But I will tell you, with everything the research we did and the Facebook groups that we
Hmm.
worked with on this, definitely it has a fan base that's
Oh yeah.
the people who love it are rabidly love it.
Yeah, of course. So I just want to show everybody this is a detail that goes into the game when you actually are you're buying one of your games. This is the manual, of course, that teaches you how to play Robotech Force of Arms right here, and of course a lot of great art that's in here as well. Plus a very straight to the point explanation of the rules, um, without ruin it without wasting any time and getting into the monotony of teaching people how the rules are. I'll avoid that. But what I liked about what you had was in this package, there was little baggies for the cards and for the tokens. I love that little detail. Like no, like not a lot of people think that way. You know what I mean?
Well, and I've got one of my best friends who helps us do a lot of our testing, has about 1,400 board games at his house. So
Yeah.
it's always about, hey, what little thing can we do to make
Right.
people happier with the game? And I don't
Mhm.
like loose parts flying around in
Yeah.
my
No, I
in my
hate that.
box either.
Yeah. So I'm just showing people the actual. These are the tokens, which are part of the game, which are also part of the other game, the sequel to this game, which we're going to be talking about later on, Crisis Point. And then we also have the card deck, which is the actual source of the actual game itself, right? Which kind of your playing deck and also your playing board, because you have to use these your ships as as your defense and of course your objectives as well, to try and get enough points to win the game. So I'm just want to show people some of the art here, and just tell me when you looking for artists to work on your projects. Is there definitely go to artists that you have in your stable?
Yeah, I've got four guys that I've been using pretty regularly since Lords of Rock and
Mm-hmm.
Nightmare Forest Alien Invasion.
Right. Yeah,
I've
go ahead
got
and promo them. I'm sure
Yeah,
they'll appreciate it.
I've got a guy named Joel out in Mexico. I met
Right.
him because of my other artist in Mexico named
Uh-huh.
Andorra Sidonia. Andorra does a lot of the in Force of Arms. He did all the Zentradi mecha. Joel did all the RDF mecha, and then a guy I'm good friends with in South Africa did all the characters. Because we really wanted the characters to look right out of the cartoon, not be modernized. Because there's a lot of new games coming out with a lot of modernization of the art. But for me, the passion was the classic, and all I wanted to do was make it look nice but look the same. If that makes kind of sense. And so I used those guys, and then one artist I have in the UK tends to do all. I have one guy who does card design, one guy who does character design, then the two guys that do mechs.
I see. Very cool. Very cool. I'm showing people the poor armor 1s and 5s that always get massacred. But if you're really good, you can make them survive in this game if you really know how to play the game. So I'm just showing them some of the Zentradi here, and I'll actually show them what everybody wants to see, which is always usually the Robotech Defense Force first before I put these away. And I'll show you one of my favorites, which is the Battloid right here. You can see the detail. So, I mean, it's a collector's item without even playing the game. So that's a good thing about it. So if you just want to, like, have a cool thing to look at and play around with yourself, it's great as well. And you also make games that that you can play by yourself as well, right?
Yeah, we actually we did Nightmare Forest Alien Invasion. It's a true co-op in the sense that you have a certain amount of time to clear all the invading aliens. Nobody can die or you lose. Time runs out, you lose. So it's a true co-op, but it's something you can play by yourself. The engine that sits under Alien Invasion, we took parts of that to build. We're actually working on the new gen game now. It's almost done testing, and it's one of those where we took some of that cooperative mechanic. So what we really wanted to do with Force of Arms, Crisis Point, and Invasion was you could sit down in one night, and over the course of about 3.5 hours, you could play the entire series in a series of games.
It's very cool.
So so we really wanted to make sure we kind of serviced that part of what we love, and so actually, what I'm going to do is while we're chatting, I'm going to give you a little exclusive sneak peek here at some of the Invasion art real quick.
Okay.
I'll shoot it over to you via chat. And then you
can
it's
fine. And I can put it on my desktop here, and then we can show people.
I will warn everybody, this is not final. It hasn't been final approved by Harmony yet. But let's see here. It give you an idea of what the art's going to look like. Now, these pictures you're going to see are also going to be turned into standees for Invasion. So you'll actually have little cardboard stand-ups, and each character will have 5 versions. They'll have the person version, the motorcycle version, the cyclone the armored cyclone version, a guardian version, and a Battloid version. So cool. Those should load up for you here in just a second.
Okay.
There you go.
Very cool. All right, so let's look at them. Everybody's gonna get to see my end. Oh, very nice. Let's see. Let's show them. This is actually the third game, so we're kind of ahead ourselves, but still it's okay because everything that's Robotech. So
well, and it's in the being such a humongous fan of Robotech, it's part of the art is part of the love. You've got to really make sure it's something. You have to service that here, and I'll give you one other thing here.
I mean, just the fandom will let you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Working with working with the fan group for the Masters, we get in regular arguments about gun safety and art. So that's how detailed they are about it.
Very cool.
That's what the box is.
That's what the box is going to look like, right? Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. So let's get into. Of course, I recommend Force of Arms. It's $20. I don't know what you can buy nowadays for $20 and have entertainment for about 20-30 minutes with another person. Okay, so if you're a Robotech fan, just go get it. Go to SolarFlare Games. Do you have your own online store? You send them to the retailers?
No. So we're actually in distribution. So you can go to any board game, any game store can order it. If they don't have it, they can order it. Okay. And one of the nice things that I'm going to let you guys know, in addition, on the pre-order right now, people who do the pre-order will get the booster pack, the free booster pack for Force Arms early. But then stores are actually going to be able to carry it for free, because we care so much about what we're doing that we want the fans to get a little bit more, even a little bit of bigger experience out of the Force of Arms game.
Right.
So the booster pack is called Grand Cannon, and it replaces the empty space that we have in the game for Force of Arms with the Grand Cannon, and it changes the mechanics, because you're not only are you trying to protect your ships, now you're trying to get control of the Grand Cannon so you can fire it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
everybody wanted that. We added there's a couple of cards in there. You get Roy Fokker, so hashtag Roy Fokker lives. And we Exodor's in there, and then you have I believe I want to say it's Fire the Main Gun is one of them,
Yeah.
and the other one is the Daedalus Counter Maneuver. So we did a lot of fun stuff, because it's
cool.
because it's about, like I said, it's about servicing the love of what we do. So
Right.
Force Arms is we made it for $20. Everybody was saying you should charge $25 because it's Robotech, and I'm like, no, I want something that people can introduce their kids to Robotech and enjoy all of the stuff that we're doing. And it's $20, $20 bill. You walk away with it and you have a good time with it. And so Grand Canyon is going to expand that. But one of the things we did is we made the game fairly symmetrical. There's a little bit of asymmetry in the command and hero phase. But it's meant to be teach you how to use that mechanic that we invented really well to prepare you for Crisis Point, because Crisis Point is the ultimate expression of that original aliens capturing cows mechanic, because instead of the center of the board being pre-built, you actually build it as you play, and as you play cards next to each other, they trigger off of each other.
I see. Okay.
So it is definitely a deeper strategy kind of game.
Right. So Robotech Force of Arms is kind of like the introduction to your game mechanics.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Which is cool. So it's kind of like the progression. So Crisis Point is more now, a lot more moving parts to it, like a lot more combos that you can do, and where Force of Arms kind of like, this is the basics, right?
Yeah, like you're familiar with Force of Arms, like how on Force of Arms you have the outside is 2 cards per row column. You have defense and attack.
Right.
In Crisis Point, we moved the complexity from the outside, so now the outside in Crisis Point is just 1 card. And if the card is over your card, it's defense. If it's over the enemy card, it's attack. So we made it simplified on the outside. But in the middle, you have your base. You have 2 strategic locations, and you're going to play 5 of your 8 potential units in the center in a 4x4 grid. And what happens is you lay cards down, like if you lay the base down, when you lay the base down, however many combat cards you have left in your hand is how many tokens you earn. So you can play it early, but then your base is just sitting out there, obvious where it's going to be the whole game. So you get more tokens, but the enemy has more information. And then you keep going back and forth, and you have cards, units that you lay down, and each unit, when you lay it down, you collect combat tokens that you can play during the token phase.
Right.
But they also have abilities where if you get the right cards next to each other at the right time, they trigger extra effects. And then also during the hero and command phase, if you have units that are adjacent to each other in the right way, certain hero or command cards can even boost that triggered ability even farther. So you not only are you trying to figure out what you're doing while you're doing it, you're also trying to plan 2 phases ahead in the game as you're doing it.
Wow. Okay. I like it. I'm already invested, so I already put on my dollar bills for the pre-order. So let's talk about, of course, Force of Arms is available now, so anybody who wants to buy it can find it, even if they got to robotech.com, right?
Yep. And we actually, during the pre-order here, you can actually get it bundled with this game too if you want. So it's up to.
Yeah. So there you go.
There's a lot of flexibility there.
Very cool. Very cool. So you could do that. Definitely get into Force of Arms. You just want to learn the mechanics, but we're here for really is to promote your pre-order phase of Crisis Point. So for anybody who just doesn't understand how manufacturing games work, Why don't you give them the cliff notes of why a pre-order, or why even a Kickstarter in the first place, or anything similar to that?
So through the with some of the history that we aren't going to talk about with Robotech and games,
Yeah.
Harmony doesn't allow for Kickstarters anymore. So I'm
Mm.
not. This isn't a Kickstarter.
Yeah, 'cause we're not
And
gonna beat nobody up in this show. So we'll
yeah,
just let that
and
go.
I'm good. I'm friends with the owners of Pledge Manager, which is
Uh-huh.
the platform I'm
Ah,
using.
okay. Yeah, very cool.
And so it kind of looks like a Kickstarter because it tends to be what people use post Kickstarter.
I'm
But I'm
gonna
using it
actually
as a
click on the
pre-order platform.
Kickstarter
But the
here.
difference is I already paid for production to start.
Ah, yeah.
So the game's
So
already good. People who are worried like, oh well, I've been burned by
Is it gonna
Robotech.
happen if it doesn't reach
It's
its
going to
total?
happen no
Yeah.
matter what.
Okay, very
Period.
cool.
It's going to get because I already have a distribution deal. So as soon as I put it in distribution, all the game stores will order a bunch of copies, and I'll make back what I've invested because
Right.
I'm taking Force of Arms money that I've earned and investing it to make Crisis Point. The reason we're doing the pre-order, I had an opportunity to create some special limited edition things. So there was two folds. We have the Robotech poker cards. So we used
Yeah, I did see that. That was very
yeah,
cool.
yeah, we
That's a
used
very
the
cool thing that
Zentradi,
you gotta
the
do.
RDF, the Army of Southern Cross, and the Masters to
Let
create a
me get
deck of
into
poker.
the actual reward here on the
If you actually scroll down, you can see the poker
uh,
cards on the front page.
what did I do? Oh, okay, yes. Okay, so this is the game, of course, right?
Yep,
This is the
that's what the
little bit of
cards
the
look like.
art, which I love the Logan. That's like the most underused mech in the whole
We've been
Robotech
told this
war.
the cool. We did the impossible. We made the Logan look cool.
Yeah, they're like the death traps of the
Hmm.
war. You know, those and some other ones. Those poor fighter jet guys.
Oh yeah, the Sylphid fighters. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but in the final battle, they're like they're getting down in the final battle. So I'll reserve judgment. How about that? So that's a little bit of the art of the actual, a little bit of the Southern Cross, a little bit of the Masters there, and then you can
And the
also
rule
check out the
book's
rule
right there.
book.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, very
Yep.
cool. This it comes okay, so it comes with a booster pack for Robotech Force of Arms, which is everything that you just explained about the Grand Cannon.
Yep.
Now, for people who are familiar already with Force of Arms, it's gonna be a little like explanation on how to introduce this into the actual game mechanics of Force of Arms. What?
Yeah, so the
Okay.
booster pack literally has one card. The entire rules fit on the back of a single card.
Oh, okay, very
So,
cool.
and then you
Yeah.
have the other cards, and basically the hero and command cards you can add to you can actually add to Force Arms without the Grand Cannon.
Okay.
But once you place the Grand Cannon, it's very simple. The Grand Cannon replaces that empty space card that's in the current game now because we
Oh, okay.
wanted four and four.
Yeah.
But the Grand Cannon has limits. It can't just move anywhere. It can only move
Right.
orthogonally one
Yeah.
spot. And
It's
what happens is whoever
stationary.
has control of it at the end gets to fire it, which gives you extra combat tokens to try to capture or beat somebody. And there's also a couple of instant win conditions under Grand Cannon rules.
Interesting.
So we really wanted to. We were originally going to put some of this stuff in the original Force of Arms, and then we realized, due to manufacturing, I was trying to keep it that $20 price point. And if I'd
Right.
put some of this stuff in, it would have been 25, and that's not what I wanted. So we just decided if it's really successful, we'll put a little money aside and we'll run, a couple thousand of these, and then allow stores to just give them away for free later. So that because it's about to me it's about supporting the product that you believe in. A lot of people would be like, "Hey, we'll just put $5 on this, and then people will buy it because they like the first one." I'm like, "Nope, you know
Right.
what? I love the product, I love the IP, and I love the people who were gracious enough to support us. So we putting it out for free."
Cool. That's really cool. Um, th- I think that's like really, really, really nice of you to just to something extra for the people who have supported you since day one, or at least participating in this pre-sale. So this is the image of the playing cards, and they're just regular playing cards, and nothing to do with the game, right?
Yeah, all we did was replace the suits with the logos from each of the groups. One of the things when you play Crisis Point, you'll find out that the Masters now officially have a logo because we created one for them and it got canonized.
Nice.
And then the one of the biggest battle cries of Masters / Army of the Southern Cross fans was they hated the fact that the logo for the Army of the Southern Cross that everybody uses most of the time isn't actually the Army of the Southern Cross flag. And there
Right.
was only this like 2-second shot of it in some animation somewhere, so I actually had my artist create a really nice rendered version of it, and it
Nice.
became canon. And
Nice.
so for me as a nerd fan of this whole thing, I'm like, I get to make things that become part of it forever. So
Right.
with this, we just basically made the Masters clubs. These Entrati are the equivalent of the spades, and then RDF is diamonds, and the AOSC is the hearts. And you could use it just like any regular poker card deck or playing card deck, but it has all the art from both games in it.
Very cool. Very cool. That's a nice, cool extra thing. And then also, of course, there is the limited edition variant cover that you supplied to for Free Comic Book Day for the I forget the name of the company that does this. Titan. Yes,
Titan, yeah.
Titan Comics. They have a rehashed uh, retelling of the Robotech saga that they've started in the comic book world, and
It is
did a little.
changing the storyline a lot. I would
Yeah.
even like you called it a rehash. They're re-envisioning it, and so far it's actually pretty interesting. What I was told is they're trying to use some of the original ideas from one of the original writers
Right.
to where you're supposed to kind of, instead of being separate, kind of there's elements that come in sooner than they do in the show, and it's really cool. So for this. What you'll notice when you go out for Free Comic Book Day in May,
Mm-hmm.
the back of this issue, all 90,000 copies of the back of this issue is actually an ad for Force of Arms and Crisis Point.
Nice.
But we had a limited number of these made with this cover with our logo, and this is art from Force of Arms. It may be arguably one of the best pieces of art we've done. This is the one everybody loves because everybody loves Max and Miria, and this is their first fight.
Right.
And so we talked to Titan, and they let us make a certain number of these with this cover, but you can only get this variant cover from the pre-order, or if you see me at a convention and I have any left. That would be the
Nice.
only way to get it.
Okay.
And so so the booster pack, the poker cards, and this variant cover are all free. So you're paying $30 for Crisis Point, which is going to be retail. So you're paying the same as retail.
So you're paying the exact same money as resale, ladies and gentlemen, for
Right.
this right here. Okay,
Correct.
the whole game.
But we're discounting shipping $5
Look at
for
that.
people who order early. They're getting a discount on shipping, and they're getting the 3 bonus things.
Mm-hmm. You're
And then
getting
they actually
the
everybody
Grand Cannon promo expansion for the first game, Force of Arms. Okay.
Yep.
You're getting a free playing deck, fun playing deck of Robotech playing cards. You're getting the variant comic book for Free Comic Book Day.
Yep.
And
And
I
the
see
art
you're getting
contest.
included in some art contest as well.
So what we did was every copy somebody orders of Crisis Point, they'll get entered into a drawing, and when we close the pre-order before we deliver, we'll pick 5 people. So let's say you ordered 5 copies for whatever reason, you get 5 entries, and we'll draw 5 names. And even if we draw somebody twice, because it's going to be a pure, free fair drawing, they will get to pick their favorite piece of art from Crisis Point, because I will show them all of the art that's in the game, because they won't obviously have a copy of the game yet.
Right.
But I will show them, PDFs of all the different cards, and what they'll do is they'll pick the piece of art they like the best. I'll strip all the game components off the art
Right.
and do a 10 by 14 print, sign the print, and send it to them for free. It'll be a nice little extra bonus for people who pre-order. So what I really wanted to do is I have retailers are very important to me, because game stores are the lifeblood of what I do.
Yeah.
And so I have to do this pre-order, because what I'm actually trying to do is generate some interest and some excitement prior to it going, because there's only so many of these are going to be available. Once we run out of the extras, the pre-order shuts down, or if we get to May, the pre-order shuts down. Either way,
Right.
It's only going to be open for a limited period of time. And so we want to make sure we support retailers, which is why the price is the same as you'd pay a retailer. And what you're paying in shipping is about what you pay in tax. So we're trying to kind of keep it equal, but it's limited. There's only so many of these that can be had. And what I'm trying to do is generate enough capital to make sure I get all the art done for Invid Invasion in time to do a pre-order for Invid Invasion, so we can deliver Invid Invasion in October or November before the year is over.
Right.
Invid Invasion is going to weigh almost 5 pounds.
Wow, wow,
Yeah.
that's gonna be and that's gonna be very big because just most of that whole third war is there's a lot of
Well,
crazy fanatics for
the board alone is 24 by 36, and in this one it's 18 by 24. So there's a board.
hmm
This box is about 9.5 by 9.5 by 2, so it's a pretty good size. It weighs about 2.6 or 2.7 pounds. So it's for $30. There's not much you could pick up in a game store this size and this weight that you'd get for $30. And once again, I had a bunch of people go, "You should charge 35," but I'm like, nope, because I'm not going to just charge people for the name.
Just keep pushing the envelope.
I want people to enjoy the fun and enjoy the games.
I want to show some people. I want to show people the Invid. Did you put an Invid picture up on your
Oh, you mean the back of the cards?
Yeah. Oh no, I'm talking about the Invid. Yeah, I forget you sent it to me. That's right.
Yeah.
So I will. That's okay. I lost here in internet space here. So the pre-sale is live now. Okay. The pre-sale is live now, and anybody who wants to order it, of course, go ahead and plug away everything that they need to do. Go to your website, of course, solarflaregames.com.
Yeah, I just sent you 2 pieces of art. You can pop up real quick if you want.
Cool. Yeah, very cool. All right. Ah, yes, this is very cool. It is.
That's
cool
what the back of the
visual.
cards. The back of the cards look like when you're playing Invid Invasion. The battlefield is all the Invid are face down with various colors telling you whether they're weak or strong.
I like
and so
that.
this is the weakest kind. Oh,
I
I
like
want
that.
part of my goal with Invid Invasion is to make the Invid scary.
Right. Well, I mean that whole, that's the theme of that that story. They're just scary characters. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, and part of the whole overall plan with this was Force of Arms is 20, Crisis Point's 30, and this one's going to be 50. So in the end, we'll produce 3 games that for retail be $100, and you can sit down in one evening in about anywhere between 2.5 to 4 hours, just depending on how fast you play. You can play the entire TV show in a series of games, and what we're doing and what was really important to us was, once again, it wasn't like we slapped a skin on something that sort of feels like the TV show.
Right.
We really went into, you're in the TV show and the mechanics fit the experience as if you were in the TV show. That was kind of the goal.
Very cool. Very cool. So they can go right now to solarflaregames.com, and they can participate in the pre-sale and get all those goodies with their order of Crisis Point right now, right as we speak, right?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
one of the easiest way to if you want to hit the pre-order without having to hop through a website, you can go to tinyurl.com/crisis point.
Okay. Very cool. All right. Anything else after Robotech is done and you've closed the chapter on Robotech? What's in the future for Solar Flare Games?
A couple things. Our license expires the midpoint of next year.
Okay.
There's a couple of things going on. Obviously, Harmony has to renew their license control of the IP.
Right.
If that were to happen, we're actually considering we'll probably renew our license because I've invented a Robotech deck builder
Oh.
that
Excuse me.
that plays unlike any deck builder out there right now. It pieces of it function like DC, pieces of it function like Marvel's Legendary, but it's very
Wow.
unique in how it functions. And if we continue to do the license, what we'll do is Robotech Macross deck builder, and then we'll release a Masters expansion and then a New Gen expansion, and then if they let me, I'll do a Sentinels expansion.
Oh yeah. Well, man, that would be cool.
If we can, we've got some really good ideas, and there's a lot of ways we can go with it. If that, and then probably before we get to that first part next year, we're talking about doing another Kickstarter. Let me see if I can show you a quick piece of art from that. We have a game we're working on called Quests, the Heroes of Cercado. And let's see if I have the...
Yeah, feel free to plug away. It doesn't have to be about Robotech. Let's see. Let's get back here to your Facebook page.
Like, so it's you'll see stuff. This is one of our. It's called this is a quest card, and we have a very early version of the cover. This is going to change a little bit because the title's wrong now. We changed the title.
That's fine.
But the idea of this one is it's going to play. If you try to imagine hybriding a light version of Dungeons and Dragons with Choose Your Own Adventure as a card and dice game.
Huh. Okay. I like it.
Yeah. So you'll draw a quest like this, and this shows you that you need 3 treasure tokens, 5 armor and weapon tokens, 8 magic tokens, and 4 lore tokens.
Okay.
To do that, you have to go questing through 4 adventure areas, and the adventure areas are decks of cards. So you have forest, dungeon, city, and ruins, and each one has a slight lean towards one of these type of things. But in there you have traps, you have events, you have monsters. When monsters are triggered, the people who are all playing player characters, because what we did was, let me see if I have one real quick here. Let's see. There we go. This is that's the cleric player character. So the characters have 4 stats, and the stats, when you go to fight the monster has a target number based on all 4 potential stats, and the size of the monster determines how many characters can participate in the fight, and then whoever's the primary character whose turn it is decides which stat they want to use to attack the monster. So you add up the bonus for all the people who can participate, roll a 20-sided die. If you hit the number or higher, you've defeated the monster, you get the reward. If you miss it, you fail, and everybody gets punished.
Or dead.
So it's light. It's something you can play with your kids. It's something you can play with your friends when you're kind of having a party time. One of the things that we're really proud of, and the thing that we've always done with our games, is since throughout my life, I've never had kids of my own, but I've only ever had stepdaughters. So one of the things that we do in our games is when you play Quest, you'll see that half the characters are female and half the characters are male. If you play Lords of Rock, half the gods are male, half the gods are female, because one of the things we do as a family-friendly company is we want to promote, gender equality within the games, so that people feel like, hey, I can play somebody who's like me, and in all of the characters you'll find in none of our games, nobody is sexy, so to speak. So all the goddesses are wearing nice, in Lords of Rock, they're all wearing cool outfits, but they're respectable,
right?
And so it's about, like I said, we're a family friendly game. We've had some ideas for games we want to do, but we're like, we can't do that as the company we are. So so we got Quest Heroes versus Cercado. We've come up with an idea for a light worker placement. So it's a worker placement that's designed for people who want to introduce their kids to worker placement, but don't want to have to try to play Waterdeep with their kids.
Okay.
And we've got another one called Combat Wombat, and it's you play a group of kind of A-team-ish wombats trying to get the trying to get the Tasmanian devils out of your den. So there's some of that's not up there yet, but
show them a little bit of the Archmage origins and other stuff that you have.
So Archmage was the second iteration of that utter terror mechanic that ended up in Force of Arms and Crisis Point.
I see. Okay.
So we kept evolving this mechanic to where when we test it, what we describe Crisis Point is the ultimate expression of that mechanic. There's literally no way for us to twist it any farther than we have. So Crisis Point is the final / tactical strategy, bluffing, area control, hand management war game. So
I like it. Okay, let me show them a little bit of the Nightmare Forest, which is one of your better sellers, huh? Because you got three of them going, right?
People love Alien Invasion because it's a true Dead Run is a every man for himself. It's you wake up in the woods, all the forest critters have been turned into zombies,
Right.
and the first person to fight their 7 escape wins. So it's every person for himself. Whereas Alien Invasion is a true co-op. You're trying to clear the aliens before the timer runs out. If you fail, the Earth gets conquered. And this is the one. People like Lords of Rock a lot, but people keep coming back to us at conventions going, oh my god, we love Alien Invasion, which is why we're co-opting some of the mechanics from this
right
for
Invasion. Invasion, yeah. Okay. And then Utter Terror is tell me a little bit about that one before we wrap up. It's more of a
so that's the one that's the very
the
original.
cows, yes.
Yeah. So you have 2 teenage aliens trying to capture the most cows. You have 8 flying saucers with a tractor beam power 1 through 8, and you control 2 sides of the board. The other guy controls 2 sides, and it's just like Force of Arms. You're building a vector over each card. Whoever has the most power gets the cow. If you tie, the cow gets destroyed.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Oh, thank you so much for your time, and go give them everything, your socials, where they can follow you, where they can follow SolarFlare Games. Give them all the 401.
Okay. Facebook.com/SolarFlare Games, Instagram.com/SolarFlare Games, and then oddly enough, this is going to be really weird, Twitter.com/Brave Frontier.
Okay, that's obviously
somebody had SolarFlare Games, and technically my LLC is called Brave Frontier Studios, but we're also we do business as SolarFlare Games. So
right. Okay, very cool, very cool. Dave, thank you so much for taking time out and talking to us about Robotech. I guess I'll give it away that I'm a big fan of the IP. So, if anything else, when we're ready to talk about Invasion again, can we get you back on and we'll
absolutely.
You're probably gonna do the same thing, maybe another pre-sale.
Yes, that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're actually we're working on a free booster that will allow you to play Crisis Point and Force of Arms side by side and have them interact.
Wow, that's mind blowing. You should call it the Titan comics version, the Titan comics upgrade or something. I don't know, without getting in trouble. Alternate universe or something like that. All right, thank you so much, Dave. Dave Killingsworth, ladies and gentlemen, SolarFlare Games. Go check him out. Check out everything that he's working on at solarflaregames.com. And thank you so much for being with us here at Geek Culture Congress. And hopefully next week we'll have another show for you again. And thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for following us. Of course, the Instagram, follow us, Geek Culture Congress. When are you going to be in any shows in Florida? We're based out of Florida, so any trade shows in Florida you're going to be able to make it to?
Let's see. We've got coming up this year. No, we don't have anything in Florida. Okay. It's just with actually having a regular job in addition to doing this, I don't get a lot. We're going to be at the Gamma Trade Show next week in Reno.
Okay.
And then we'll be at BoardGameGeek.com, the spring one, which is Memorial Day weekend here in Dallas, and then we will be at Origins Game Fair in June. And it looks like we may be doing a convention here called Game Fest, which is part of Anime Fest out here in Dallas in August. Nice. And then we will do BGG fall. Yeah,
you're busy. You don't need to come to Florida. One of these days, then.
I got to make an excuse because I'm a huge Miami Dolphins fan.
Oh, so. There you go. See, you got to do the SuperCon or MegaCon Orlando or something.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Dave. Dave Killingsworth, ladies and gentlemen. Go check him out right now on Facebook because he's all over Facebook. He's all in the Robotech groups and everything right now. So you can check out the art for yourself. If you don't believe anything I've shown you in this past hour or so of show, okay? Thank you so much, Dave.
Thank you very much.
Have a good one, okay?